Welcome to Blueprint Boost for Contractors, the podcast that's your go-to source for unlocking the secrets to successful marketing, gaining valuable insights, and growing your contracting business with less stress. Your host is David Brooks, and he's thrilled to be your guide on this journey. As a seasoned expert in the contracting industry, David understands the challenges you face. That's why each episode is crafted to provide you with actionable strategies and proven blueprints to boost your business to new heights.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm your host, David Brooks, powered by Contractor Rhino, your go-to source for all your digital marketing and accounting needs for the trades. For this episode, we do have a guest with us, and I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Hey, David, Carl Utter here from Contractor Growth Strategy, and what a pleasure to be on your call today.
Carl, thanks for joining us. Great to have you.
Great to be here. I was really excited. Been looking forward to this.
Yes, us as well. Us as well. So glad we're able to carve out the time and dig into it.
I know David and I just been talking about Philadelphia sports.
Yes.
Not a particularly good time to be a Philadelphia sports fan.
We're seeing the ups and the downs and the ebb and flows right now.
That's right. It's a lot like business, isn't it, in the trades, right? The trades
Right.
can always be up and down, right?
Yep. No, well, again, it's good to have you, Carl. Can you tell the audience a little bit about your background and your company?
Sure. Uh, I am primarily, David, a sales trainer slash business coach. I've been in the training space for the last 25 years or so. I started out working for a national sales training organization. And we had a really good system. In 2001, I developed my own system and brought it to market. And about 10 years ago, I made the choice that I was going to specialize in working with contractors. So we even niched even further during COVID, specializing in painting contractors. But primarily, we work with commercial and residential contractors. And generally, they come to me because they're looking to improve their sales ability. And even more specifically, we help painters and contractors who are at the higher end price wise in the marketplace. So what we do is we help them learn how to sell the value of their offering, especially when they're dealing with price sensitive consumers in this day and age.
Mhm. Oh, excellent. Thanks for giving us that rundown and that overview. I really love that. Consumers are price sensitive, but you don't want to undersell your services, right? There's value there, and by working with you, you could help prove that value, and really help grow your business, by using the techniques that you're going to be able to help them implement.
Yeah, and what we find in the trades too, and you probably do in some of the work you do with marketing, David, is we find that really good contractors have a lot of good systems in place, right? Which is why they're successful. But they're selling on personality versus having a transferable system. So that's where we come in and try to help them bridge that gap by creating a step-by-step structured approach to sales that is duplicatable and transferable. A lot of times, really successful contractors have what I call a non-transferable skill set, meaning they're really good. They can go out and sell sand to a seal or, snow to an Eskimo, whatever
Mhm.
right? They just have that natural ability. But when it comes time to train somebody else, they kind of lack that transferability. So what we do is we come in and help them develop what we call a transferable skill set that really helps them scale. And as well as is getting them to be able to really sell the value of their offering and taking the buying criteria off of price and putting it on the value that's being delivered. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
And, and to follow up with that, from the contractors that you've been working with and talking to, have you had any recent success stories that you would love to share?
Recent success stories that I'd like to share. Well, there's two recent ones that come to mind. And the first one is a client of mine in Rhode Island, and he's got one, two, three. So he has about four salespeople working for him, and they're a pretty decent size. They're in the home remodel space, and we took somebody that had no sales experience and no experience in the trades, and took them from zero at the beginning of the year, and by the end of October, it already broke $1 million in sales, which is a million two is a really good first year sales number. A lot of times we see the expectation coming in around 7 to 850. So I think anytime you get over a million two in your first year, that's a really good sign. So we had that. And then we've had another success story where we had a client, we just put him through 8 weeks of our initial training, and he's already hit $100,000 in his first 3 weeks of being out on his own. So um, that's one example of, of salespeople or estimators having some success. In terms of company success, we've had a number of our clients, a handful, have gone from about 1 million to 1 million 4 to are hitting that $2 million mark. And I think probably the thing I'm most proud of is we had 7 people in 2023 sell over $2 million in home sales, which is a really good number.
That's excellent. Those are really good success stories and really great numbers to share with the audience. That's really providing value and helping transform a business, not only the business but the individuals too as well.
Yep. And well, the system works. We know the system works. We have over 20 years of, data recorded. It works. About 85% of our clients will will just about double their ROI. And we always shoot for an 8 to 10 return on investment. For every dollar they invest, we shoot for a 10 times return on invest. We don't always get that, of course, but 85% of the time they at least double their money back on their investment. I always tell them the biggest problem you're going to have is you're going to wish you paid me more dollars because you'd get more back. So yeah, we always say there's no secret here. It works. If you work the system, it will work for you. If you skip steps, you do so at your own peril. So, it is a repeatable success system.
Mhm.
And sales, and I see it all the time. Like, you know, contractors will spend all kinds of money on lead generation, but they don't want to spend any money on upping their sales skills to convert those leads, right? It's like, say, what you and I do, we have we're the magic combination, right? You get the phone ringing, you bring them in the front door, right? You get the meeting set up, and then my guys, when they're highly trained, they're converting those leads into dollars, and it gives you a what these two things do, sales and marketing, what they do together is they take out the highs and the lows of business, right? It gives you something that is sustainable, predictable. So you're not having these wide swings of great months and bad months, especially this year. This has been a tough year for contractors. If you've been in the United States, you may not have heard this. I'm going to break the news to you. We had an election this year.
We really had an election.
You probably didn't know that. Um, and I think it was primarily responsible for a lot of people kind of sitting on the sidelines, waiting to see what's going to happen. Especially, in lead generation, a number of contractors have really, especially on the residential side, have really complained about the number of residential leads they had this year. Leads have been way, way, way down, pretty much across the board. Um, Commercial side, it's getting Commercial is a different animal from a sales perspective too. The commercial side of things, I have some very, very large commercial clients, guys doing 15, 20 million, 25, 30 million a year. And once you've got your foot in the door and you've worked with a company, it's more of a relationship sale than it is going out and establishing value. It's generally on the commercial side, they have their 3 or 4 go-to contractors that they can trust and rely on to get the job done, to get it done well. It's a little different type of a sale. Where the residential side, believe it or not, is much more transactional. It's you're out there, you're selling a painting project. You may not see that customer again for another 5 years, 6 years, 7 years if you're good. So, they're very different types of sales. One is very relational and the other is very transactional. And both of those things require a much different mindset from a sales perspective. It's a different, they are not the same animal. The person who's really good at a transactional sale, they tend to be more what we call killers, right? They're killers, right? They're high, they're trained to go in and get the deal and get out of there. And then it's turned over to a delivery team that's responsible for wowing the customer, right? But on the commercial side, a lot of the estimators are also the project manager, and they're also the relationship manager, and they have a lot of responsibility. I mean, they can carry a book of business that can be anywheres from $2 to $8 million, and more depending on the type of construction services they offer. So very different types of animals.
Yeah, different types of, well, spectrums, residential versus commercial. And now that the election is over and we're about to unpack into a new year, is a really good time to look at your KPIs, your metrics,
Mhm.
trainings and things you're going to implement for the new year. What are your goals? And start setting those things up now. Don't wait till the last minute. Really start gearing up for a productive 2025 with a game plan and being ready to attack it.
Yep. Yep. Same goes for us too, right?
Yep.
That's what I've been busy doing this year is putting my 2025 plan together. Actually, I'm putting it together for the next 4 years, but it's really narrowing down what my priorities are. And it's good if you have a business coach, or you have somebody like David that you work with. You want to lean on these guys. Make sure you get a plan together. Go to David. Make sure you have a good marketing plan. How many leads, get a cookbook together. If you have a sales goal, how many leads do you need coming in the door next year to hit that sales goal, right? It's by the numbers, right? You got to know your numbers, right? And you need so many leads to get a sale, and you need so many sales to hit your revenue goal, right? It's simple math.
Yep.
It's simple math, but you got to do the tracking to know what the numbers tell you.
Mhm.
But if you don't know, you want to get with somebody like David to help you do that, because a good marketing guy is going to help you with more than just running ads. They're going to help you with things like strategy and how to go to market with the right message, and that stuff is so important.
Mhm. It really is. It's not to be undervalued or pushed aside or overlooked. It all cohesively goes hand in hand with, making sure that you're getting the qualified leads in the door, making sure you have optimizing campaigns, and you live where your potential customers are going to be at. Your branding, your messaging is on point. But then that goes hand in hand with the sales aspect too, where you know we could be doing all the best marketing in the in the world, but your team is having an issue, closing those deals. And I've seen it before where I remember a long time ago, I was working for another company, and we're looking at metrics and data, and the data look great. It look like, on by the numbers that what they should be doing should be double to where they were at last year, except that they weren't. And when I was talking to another member of the organization, they were saying, "Man, like the team and the owner is really bad at sales. Like you have to see what I saw when I was conversing with them and then where I was there in front of them in person. And that's where the issue was lying. So it's like, oh, well, I can't I can't tell that side because, I'm just looking at the data, but I don't see the behind the scenes of that.
A lot of a lot of these guys drive like with what I call a flat tire.
Yeah.
They look at the tires flat and they go, well, if we just turn it over, it won't be flat anymore. Well, it's like a wheel and a tire. Sales and leads, they go hand in hand. Sales is really a subset of marketing. People always say, well, what's marketing? Everything is marketing.
Mhm.
Everything is marketing. The way you talk to a customer is marketing. I know yesterday I had a lazy salesperson yesterday that cost his company a $14,000 sale. I was looking for a program for next year. I'm trying to line up some, every year I try to up my own game, right? In my own craft. And I'm looking for some tools around business coaching and you know guys, well, these kinds of questions we can answer them. You can watch this 1 hour and 14-minute video. I'm like, I'm not watching a 14-minute video, hour and 14-minute video. If that's what you are willing to give me on this call, let's just end it now.
Yep.
Now he's calling me today, going, oh, can I answer any questions? I go, oh, you mean like the ones you wouldn't answer yesterday? You
Mhm.
sent me to this bit video that was like 10 years old. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, sales, you got to up your, sales is you got to up your game. You got to up your game because if you don't, your competition's going to,
Mhm.
right? And you have to get out there. And today, the consumer, or the commercial contractor, the buyer has so many choices out there, right? Why are they going to buy you, right? And 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, if they liked you better than the competitor, you had a pretty darn good chance of doing that.
Mhm.
Or if you were a professional company, I see it in the painting world where, we've always worked with some of the leading professional companies that really went to market professionally, not like, chuck in a truck, stand in a van. They really went to market professionally, and that was a differentiator, and but today that gap is really, really closed where that really high-end professional, concierge mentality type of service in the trades, everybody's catching up. So what is going to be the thing that makes a customer want to hire you, especially if you're more expensive, right? Why should a customer pay more to work with you?
Mhm.
And that's the question that needs to be answered. And once it's answered, it needs to be communicated persuasively,
Yes.
professionally, right? With some excitement and pizzazz, right? I mean, if you can't get excited about what you offer a customer, how are they going to get excited? Man, it ain't
Yep.
happening, baby.
It's really not like you said, it's not if you're not excited, if you're not thrilled and happy to help, it doesn't pass along to the customer. I can remember for a particular company we were working with and listening to phone calls, and the person that was responsible, well, one of the persons that were responsible for answering the calls were just so unenthusiastic about really taking down the information and
Mm.
helping. And it's like, why would I want to call someone like that that's like dreading to take my information or, getting frustrated by having to ask me to repeat myself. Just, those different things. And like I said, it's not happening.
there's so many places you can really fall down, along the way. The customer journey, the path they take to become a customer, and it's any one of those things can really turn a customer off. In the trades we see it's all over the map. I just got done working with a client of mine before I jumped on your podcast, and it's a really good company. I mean, really good company, based out of California, but they're expensive, right? They go out and they're a residential painter. Well, they're both residential, and they also have a commercial division. But we were working on the residential side today, and we were working on what we call the irresistible offer, right? And which is really their sales presentation, where we take the deliverables, and what we do is show them how a specific deliverable is going to address the concerns, the needs, the desires, the wants, the pains, whatever where the customer is coming from. And we find out what's most important to a customer, but we actually go a step further and show them how we're going to satisfy that based on our deliverables and the benefits of those deliverables. And it's a very client-centric conversation, right? And we work very hard with our clients to get the me, the I, the we, right? We want to talk about what we do, right? Everybody wants, because that's what we know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what sells. What sells is the single most important word in sales is you, what you get from what I do. It's not about what I do. It's about what you get because of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you focus on what the customer gets and not what you do, that's a game changer. You're going to outsell your competition because the customer is going to come away with a very deep feeling that you really understand what's most important to them. And oftentimes that confidence they have in you because you took the time to really understand what they wanted, what they were feeling, what they were concerned about, what their desires were. Once you got a good handle on that and you get them reassured that you're going to be able to deliver that, game over.
Mm-hmm.
Game over. Cash the check, baby. We're going to the bank.
Cash the check, we're coming home.
Cash the check. We're going to the bank.
Yeah, I love that. I love that thought and approach and that mindset. It's really a mindset thing too, transforming your mindset over to providing that true value, making yourself stand out in a competitive and crowded market.
Mm-hmm. Very crowded, very competitive,
Mhm.
very and you're right, and you get it because you come from a marketing background. You understand, you naturally understand. And that's kind of what we're doing is we're taking estimators and kind of teaching them more of a marketing mindset as opposed to a sales mindset, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to be sold to.
Yep.
Nobody wants to be sold to. So what we really emphasize is how to enter into a conversation about the wants, needs, and desires of the customer, how to uncover problems they've had in the past that are probably motivating them today to avoid, right? I mean, buying is a behavior like anything else, and all behavior comes down to pain or pleasure. And when you understand that and are able to align your offering with what your customer is moving towards or away from, it tells the customer this person gets it.
Mhm. They really understand my needs and what I'm looking for, and they're listening instead of just talking right at me.
Yeah. And sometimes when they get really good at this, David, they help the customer understand needs they didn't even know they had, right? More latent type needs. And what we say is our job is to help the customer understand what they want most fits what we do best. And we do that through the art of asking questions. And questions kind of lead the customer to discover. So we facilitate a conversation that uncovers what they want most fits what the company does best. And of course, if that's not true, then why are we here? Why are we talking? You need to be talking to somebody else, not me. So we help them extract themselves from that conversation, because sometimes what the customer wants is a cheap price. They
Yep.
want to get the work done as cheaply and inexpensively as they can. And that doesn't make them bad. It's about a third of the marketplace, right? So, but do you really want to waste your time with that non-buyer?
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, ask yourself that question, and you have to maintain, standard in your work and your quality and what you do, and there will be some people that are looking for those basement low prices, and
Yeah.
you just need to know how you operate, what's your operating cost, and just knowing the value that you provide is going to really set yourself and stand apart, because that same person may wind up coming back to you saying, I went ahead and went with this person and they did a horrible job, or they
I
never showed up, or whatever the case is.
I love it when a customer, one of my clients will share a story where I went and saw this guy 2 years ago. They bought on price. Now they're calling me back to fix the mess they purchased. And I'm like, just make sure you get them to tell you they're never going to buy on purely on price ever again.
Yep.
Save that customer from himself, would you?
Yes. You definitely have to save some people for themselves.
That's right. That's right. There you go.
So another question we had is, what are some of the biggest roadblocks that you're currently seeing when you're talking with, your clients currently, or potential clients that may come into you? What are just like one or two of their things where they're like, this is the bottleneck, or whether it's something that they need to be changing with themselves?
Um, so of course, I'm usually working in the area of sales.
Mhm.
So, sometimes bottlenecks are are you've got a lot of busy business owners. They're busy. It's busy. It's hard to run a business today. I know. I run one. There's a lot to do, and so a lot of times the bottleneck becomes the owner. That 6 inches between the ears. That they too much of the business resides, in their mind. It's not on paper. It's not systematized. It's not organized. It's not, something that people, so how we do things is not documented. So if it's not documented, it's not trained properly. If it's not trained properly, people don't know the right or wrong way to do things. So that's one of the biggest things I see. And then the other thing I see is people. I mean, it's a very a service business is a people business, and you got to take care of your people. And your better business owners know that, right? There's half the people listening to this go, well, of course, Carl, we need to take care of our people, you know. But there's another half of the market out there that doesn't really understand that, doesn't take care of their best people, don't know how to, encourage them to grow, make them feel, appreciated. And you got to have good people, and you got to give those people the skills and the tools they need to be successful. You need to define success. The other thing is, especially in sales, we get a lot of business owners who are not sales managers, and now and this is a big part of our client base right now, is they've now hit, a few $1 million in sales, and they're starting to scale sales now. They're starting to add salespeople, and they have no idea how they're supposed to manage these people, right? Salespeople are not the same as tradesmen.
Yep.
They're, you know, they're a different breed, and good salesmen are inherently lazy. They are. You show me a good salesperson, and I'll show you somebody that's not going to want to do your paperwork, right? They're people, right? They want to get out, they want to make stuff happen. So So it's a challenge because you have to hold people accountable, right? And business owners go, yes, Carl, right. We need to hold people accountable. And then they go off, right? And then they'll come back a couple of weeks later going, yeah, you know that accountability thing? I go, mm-hmm. What is it we hold people accountable to, Carl? And I said, now you're asking a good question, right? And the best managers I've seen out there are really, really good at holding people accountable to the process, to the systems, to the steps, right? And that's what you manage to. You manage to your process. And there's a great, great expression that you have to inspect what you expect. That goes to Jack Welch, I think, was the person that probably coined that phrase back when he was running GE so many years ago. But you inspect what you expect, and going out doing ride-alongs and sitting there keeping your mouth shut and just observing, noticing what they did right, what they could do better. But the accountability, you can't hold people accountable to the results because by the time the results are in, it's too late. So you'll be much more proactive if you go out and see for yourself what's happening on these calls, and more importantly, what's not happening that should be happening. And when you can sort of get inside of the process and help people get back on track and hold them accountable to what you expect in terms of clear goals versus outcomes. Too often in sales, we have these fuzzy outcomes, right? I want to, you've got to do 2 million in sales, or you've got to do 1 million, you've got these, these are outcomes, right? But clear goals are things that you can do to hit those outcomes, right? And getting really crystal clear on what those behaviors are, because that's the only thing within our control is what our behaviors, what we do. That's probably way too long of an answer for the question you asked.
No, it was great information. It was great information. No, just the information is, I feel like it was really digestible. And I think the audience is going to really benefit from the recap of what you just stated is truly important. And then looking forward to helping businesses contractors overcome these challenges. Any tips that you would love to parting words that you would love to leave with the audience, not only for this episode, but as we're gearing up for Q1 after the holidays?
Yeah, if you have a team of salespeople, or if you don't have a team of salespeople, get yourself into some sort of group, some sort of, peer group where you can bounce ideas, get feedback, the lack of feedback. But if you have a group, of people who are, carve out a period of time where we work on our skills, the skill of selling, work on your skills and encourage salespeople to develop those skills to get better, right? Yeah, if Dave, you and I were talking sports, right? If we don't have people on the team performing at the highest levels possible, and we leave them on the team, what does that say about performance, right? So, if the performance isn't where you want it to be, right? Do we have the right people? And then if we have the right people, let's make sure they have the right skill sets to be able to go out and do the job and perform at a really high level, right? Don't waste your time with B and C's and D's, right? Let's get good people. Let's get them performing at a very high level, and let's hold them responsible to the systems and the things that you expect them to be doing.
Excellent. Well said. Well said, Carl. All right. Can you let the people know where to find you at?
Yeah. I did write a book on this subject, and the book is called The Contractor's Guide to Doubling Sales, Even If You're Twice the Price. And David, when I was writing this book, they encouraged me to make it a puff piece, make it an advertisement. And I started writing it. And I really just felt really crummy. I just didn't like that kind of idea. Like, here, I'm going to give you all this value, and then all it is just a commercial for me.
Mhm.
So I gave away the whole kit and caboodle in the book. So I really kind of lay out a 7-step system to help contractors sell, especially when they're higher priced. So we kind of really lay out, here's a step-by-step system to go out and sell. And I'm willing to give anybody who is a loyal listener of Contractor Rhino, the podcast, a free copy of this. I do have hard copies, which I'm out of right now. So this will be an electronic version of it, but it's the full book. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy the hard copy on Amazon, or you can email me at Carl, Carl, at contractorgrowthstrategy.com. In the subject line, put the book, and you'll get a copy of it.
Mhm. Excellent, excellent. And where can they find you at for the website?
www.contractorgrowthstrategy.com. And if you go to the resources page, we even have some free video training courses on there. So we do offer a free video training course, along with some paid courses too. Or if you really want to have a serious conversation about taking your sales ability and the ability of your team to that next level, you'd like to surround yourself with high performers. That's where we can have a conversation to find out if client-centric selling, which is our flagship program, is right for you.
All right.
That's www.contractorgrowthstrategy.com.
Perfect. I love it. Carl, thanks so much for joining. We appreciate having you.
David, thank you, man. I'm really glad. And I hope somebody hears this and is able to make their life better because of the great information I was able to share because of you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning into this episode. Make sure you tune into the next one. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blueprint Boost for Contractors. We hope you found today's insights and strategies valuable for your contracting business. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and please leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring content that truly matters.